What are you doing?
Nothing. Me? Just hanging around.
This is what's coming up in the show.
Where we live, where our kids go to school. We are back in our studio, which we had to evacuate on.
Wind gusts today could reach hurricane force, up to 70 miles an hour.
You're Elon Musk. I am?
Okay, so what do we have here? Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg to attend Trump inauguration. They will be seated together on the inauguration platform with other prominent guests. Oh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a good one. I hope you guys are ready. Elon Musk is everywhere you look. He's everywhere. You know what I mean? I think the next place you should find him is being a villain. What do you think about this? He's being a villain in a Bond movie. And then he'll have Mark Zuckerberg as his sidekick villain. I think it would be amazing because both of them right now, they're just kissing Mr. Donald Trump's ass. Badly. Very badly. Whatever Trump say, they will bow down and do it. But Elon, as usual, he's got something up his sleeve. He knows what he's doing. And Zuckerberg exactly the same. He's just thinking, I just got to kiss the ring for 4 years. After that, anyway, the inauguration is not far away, guys. So make sure you have a front seat for this one. Okay? In other trending news, the LA wildfire still continues to rage on as some people return home to find nothing there. Let's continue to pray for these people and their family. The other news in the UK here is a little bit of corruption, a lot of corruption going on within the UK government. So this person, Tulip Musk, how do you pronounce her name? Tulip Siddiq. Obviously, allegedly, houses and whatever else she's been taken from other world leaders and from family members and giving this, just because she have the power to, allegedly. She was not deemed by Magnus to have broken any rules over her use of homes, and he found no evidence to suggest that any of Siddiq's assets were derived from any other than legitimate means. Derive, that's the word. Derive from anything other than legitimate means.
After weeks of questions about her links to ousted Bangladesh Prime Minister, her aunt now at the centre of a corruption probe over alleged kickbacks. Stories for months, so last week Siddiq cancelled a trip to China and referred herself to the independent ministerial investigator Laurie Magnus. Today, a reply and a resignation. In her letter to the PM, Ms Siddiq said, the independent ministerial advisor had found there is no evidence to suggest that I have acted improperly, but resigned anyway, saying she was a distraction. Keir Starmer responded, thanking her for her resignation and saying he would want to be clear that the door remains open for you going forward. The independent advisor said he did not have access to everything he wanted, but couldn't find evidence of wrongdoing. However, he added, given the nature of Ms Siddiq's ministerial responsibilities, it is regrettable that she was not more alert to the potential reputational risks. The allegations centre on property links between Siddiq and political allies of her aunt, Sheikh Hasina, with whom she keeps close links. Ms Siddiq currently rents a £2 million house in North London owned by a businessman with reported links to Sheikh Hasina's Awami League party. She also owns a flat in central London that the Financial Times reports was gifted to her by an ally of her aunt. And she was registered as living at another London property that was transferred to her sister in 2009 by a lawyer who has represented Sheikh Hasina's government. But that's not all. Sky News obtained a statement by the Anti-Corruption Commission in Bangladesh. in Bengali but mentioning Siddiq's constituency in English, making allegations that she and her aunt broke the law, illegally handing land to other members of her family. Siddiq denies this. No rules broken, but the Tories clear she had to go.
Keir Starmer has a blind spot. He's got bad judgment. He's more interested in supporting his cronies than he is in making appointments with integrity. It just shows he is a crony Prime Minister. He is not making appointments in the public interest.
Budget day and a key position in the parade. Images like this, a sign that you matter.
Now it's all changed in that Treasury lineup. Look, Keir Starmer did act when allegations grew, and tonight Tulip Siddiq is out of a job, even though she's friends with the Prime Minister. But there are questions about why she was in that role in the first place, given, as one Labour figure said, she's not the most effective of operators, and this has created churn in the government department facing the biggest pressure of all, the Treasury.
An anti-corruption minister embroiled in a foreign corruption probe. Just not tenable for a party that put ethics at the heart.
Okay. The inquiry also looked into her presence at the signing of a 2030 nuclear deal between her aunt and Vladimir Putin in Mexico. The advisor accepted her explanation that she had been there only socially as a tourist. Okay. If you say so. Anyway, guys, what do you think? You know, what do you, the public, think of all this in government corruption? Leave your comments down below, guys. Leave your comments down below. Heading back to the USA. As the wildfire continues in LA and winds pick up overnight, this is what one of my favorite nighttime host, TV host, reacted.
Very scary, very stressful, very strange week here in LA, where we work, where we live, where our kids go to school. We are back in our studio, which we had to evacuate on Wednesday. That's our building right there, the El Capitan. That is how close this fire was to our theater here. Many of us had to leave our homes in a hurry. Some of our coworkers lost their homes. That's Hollywood. It's been terrible. It's been a terrible. Everyone who lives in the city knows someone, most of us, multiple people, families, friends, colleagues, neighbors whose houses burned down. And the truth is, we don't even know if it's over. We had 100-mile-per-hour winds fueling this nightmare. As of tonight, the winds are back. And I think I speak for all of us when I say it has been a sickening, shocking, awful experience, but has also been, in a lot of ways, a beautiful experience because once again, we see our fellow men and women coming together to support each other. People who lost their own homes were out volunteering in parking lots, helping others who lost theirs. And tonight, I don't want to get into all the vile and irresponsible and stupid things our alleged future president and his gaggle of scumbags chose to say during our darkest and most terrifying hour. The fact that they chose to attack our firefighters, who apparently aren't white enough to be out there risking their lives on our behalf, it's disgusting, but it's not surprising. Instead, I want to focus on thanking those men and women because that's all we should be doing right now. And we should never stop thanking them. That's right. Our firefighters from LA were the first on the scene without hesitation. They were out there putting out the fires as best they could. And then we had firefighters from other states coming in, from Nevada, from Arizona, Texas, Oregon, Utah, Colorado, Washington, Northern California, New Mexico, Idaho, Maine. Firefighters came all the way from Maine. We have firemen and women from Mexico, from Canada, and very grateful.
Yes, that's Jimmy Kimmel there, pouring his heart out, because obviously people that work on his show lost their houses. So for him, as a boss, You have to make sure and try and make sure all these people is okay as well, and Guillermo, his sidekick. So, yeah, as I said at the start, let's continue to pray for these people and their families, so no more death, but the fire can become under control as long as the wind starts to slow down. You know what I mean? So yes, so check out this CNN report.
To contain a new fire that erupted overnight in Southern California. This one is called the Auto Fire. It's now at 0% containment. Wind gusts today could reach hurricane force, up to 70 miles an hour. A rare type of red flag wind warning also in effect in LA and Ventura counties until Wednesday because of those winds, threatening more new fire outbreaks, spreading the Palisades and Eaton fires. I spoke to the LA County Fire Chief on Monday. Are you worried that these new winds may undo the progress that you've been able to make?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If we get a new fire start in a different location, it could be very difficult to contain.
CNN's Michael Yoshida is live for us in Altadena. Michael, good morning. What are you seeing there, and what have we learned overnight?
Hey, good morning, Casey. When you talk about that new fire popping up, just to put in perspective, that's about an hour west of us, but it's the perfect example of that concern that officials have been talking about and why over the last day, throughout the overnight hours, as our team has driven through the Palisades, through Brentwood, here into Altadena, we've seen so many fire crews staging, pre-positioning, trying to be ready for if one of those new sparks, those flare-ups happen, so they can quickly get a handle on it. Now, while we have that ongoing concern and threat of those fires and new fires this morning, I'm not sure if you can hear, but we have a lot of work happening here in this Altadena neighborhood. Utility crews, gas companies, others hard at work trying to begin some of that repair work. Obviously, as you can see behind me, this, as we've been talking about, one of those communities that's been just devastated by the Eaton fire. You can see some of the lines as well still hanging down. Just an example of how much work is ahead for these communities in and around Los Angeles. But again, right now, that most pressing threat, that biggest concern overnight heading into the rest of the day is going to be how those winds continue to potentially shift and what impacts they may have on those fires that they've already been working so hard to get those containment lines around, and what any new fires, such as that auto fire, may pop up as well.
All right, Michael Yoshida for us this morning. Michael, thanks very much for that report. And that new fire burning right now in Ventura County could spread because of those gusty winds he was just talking about, and the area is under the highest possible threat level from wildfires. Let's go to our meteorologist, Allison Chinchar, with more on what to expect today. Allison, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. And I think that's really been the biggest concern all along. It's not necessarily, the fires that are there. We have several that are at 100% containment. It's all these new fires that just pop up. What happens to those, especially as those winds continue to rage throughout the day? Here's a look at the red flag warnings that we have in effect for today. And some of these even go all the way through Wednesday afternoon. This is both the combination of those strong gusty winds up around 60 to 70 miles per hour, but also taking into account how dry the air actually is. But even embedded within the red flag warning, you have these two areas here, the kind of that darker purple pink color here, where they are considered a particularly dangerous situation embedded. And that does include 3 of the 4 fires that we are watching. They are in one of those PDSs, but it also includes places like Ventura, Thousand Oaks, San Fernando. Again, a lot of these towns and communities are inside of these. So it's going to be something we have to keep a very close eye on as those winds begin to tick up. You look as we go through the day, look at some of these 40, 50 mile per hour gusts starting to pop up, even in some of the more heavily populated areas throughout the day today, and continuing in through at least the first half of the day tomorrow, possibly into the afternoon hours. You've got these wind advisories with the wind gusts up around 50 to 55 miles per hour, the high wind warning where they could get up to 60, even 70 miles per hour. And yes, this does include the areas where we have all 4 of those fires. So we'll have to keep an eye out. But the one thing, Casey, that they really need is rain, and we just simply don't have that in the immediate forecast.
Yeah, really difficult. All right, Allison Chinchar for us this morning. Allison, thanks very much for that.
Turning back now to the wildfires raging still in LA to speak to someone in the region. Todd Hall, a senior meteorologist with the National Weather Service working in their Los Angeles office. Todd, I know we had a few issues with connections earlier. I hope you can hear me now. Todd, just bring us up to date on the latest with the weather forecast, because we were expecting these strong winds, hurricane-like winds, to pick up once again midweek. Is that what we're seeing?
Yeah, we're going to expect those winds to increase again overnight tonight and into really we're starting into Tuesday morning now. So we're going to see those winds start to increase as we get into sunrise here and shortly thereafter. And so we could see gusts between 55 and 70 miles per hour across the area. And we're already seeing these critical fire weather conditions already in place. We've had the red flag warnings out for the last several days. We're going to enter the particularly dangerous situation type red flag situation again after 4 a.m. this morning when those winds start to peak again. And we start to see the much drier air push in with the Santa Ana wind event.
As important is the direction of those winds, isn't it? And whether or not they're going towards the built-up areas. Can you tell us anything about that?
Yeah, so in right now we're seeing a little bit more of an easterly push. That is what fueled the auto fire near Ventura earlier, it'll be late last night actually. But what we're seeing is we'll probably see a little bit more of a shift back to the northeast a little bit, and that will cause different canyons from our complex topography to actually increase. And they'll see wind surface in some different canyons. At this point right now, it looks like the Palisades fire and the Eaton fire may not be affected as much by these winds due to the direction, but there is still that outside chance the northern end of the Eaton fire and the western end of the Palisades fire could see some of those winds, and if there's any hot spots, they could reignite. So that's the main concern. We also have to be very cognizant and aware of any new fires that start, especially not only in LA County, but to our areas to the east and south of us in Riverside and San Bernardino counties.
We know, Todd, that breaks in the wind are important for the firefighters to operate. At what point do you expect to see some respite this week? Any changes in the weather?
We still have these critical fire weather conditions in place through 6 p.m. Wednesday. There's a chance that for some areas these could extend into Thursday. We're still evaluating that, and we'll be talking with a lot of the fire behavior analysts that we work with closely here across Southern California in these fire agencies, and really discussing that with them to see, what we're looking at as far as the fire behavior when we produce the wind forecasts and humidity forecasts. So we're going to be taking a very close look at that. We are seeing a little bit of reprieve, hopefully by Friday and Saturday, a return of onshore flow, which was flow basically from the ocean to the desert here in California. And so we will hopefully see some of those fire weather conditions moderate, which will allow containment figures to go up and really allow these firefighters.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more weekly updates.